June 2019, question number 5. This question says, the cumulative frequency distribution of the volume of petrol needed to fill the tanks of 150 different vehicles is shown below. A is asking for the class interval 21 to 30 were to determine the lower class boundary. For the class interval 21 to 30 were to determine the lower class boundary. Alright, well, you could just write the answer. The lower class boundary would actually be 20.5, but you can actually work it out. What you could do is that the lower class boundary would be equal to the lower class limit of the class before, which is 20. Sorry, that's the upper class limit of the class before, plus the lower class limit of this class, which is 21, and then divide by 2. So this is going to be 41 over 2, and this is 20.5. So the lower class limit boundary for the interval 21 to 30 is 20.5. Next. Now, the next thing we're asked to do is, or the second thing we're asked to do is, we're asked to determine the class width, or to determine the class width. So that is for the class 21 to 30, we're to determine the class limit, or the class width. Now, the class width is equal to the upper class boundary minus the lower class boundary. So that's going to be 30.5 minus 20.5. So the class width is 10 liters. The class width is 10 liters. Alright, next. It says how many vehicles were recorded for the class 31 to 40. How many vehicles were recorded for the class 31 to 40? And to answer that, we have to go back to the table. All right. So for the class, all right. First of all, let's determine the number of vehicles. The number of vehicles is actually the frequency. For the first level, this is 24. Now, cumulative frequency means that you must add the frequencies going up. So you have to add the next frequency to 24 in order to get 59. So the next frequency is actually, or the frequency for the level 21 to 30 is 35. And why? Because 24 plus 35 gives you 59. The next one is 42. Why? Because 42 plus 59 gives you 101. The next one is 28. And the one after that is 21. So this is the frequency. And the frequency is the number of different cars. So how many cars? The question is asking how many vehicles were recorded in the class 31 to 40, and the answer for that is 42. Alright, so let's go back to the next page to write down the answer. So how many vehicles? The number of vehicles would be equal to 101 minus 59 minus 59, and the answer is 42 vehicles. Alright, C. What is C asking us now? C is saying a vehicle is chosen at random from the 150 vehicles. What is the probability that the volume of petrol needed to fill its tank is more than 50.5 liters? Alright, so first thing, going back to the table, we need to find out the number of vehicles, um, which need a volume which is what? Greater than 50.5. Alright, so let's go back to our table. So 50.5 would be from 50.5 is the number of vehicles in the last interval. 50.5, because the last interval starts at 50.5 and ends at 60.5. So the number of vehicles there is what is 21. There are 21 vehicles that need more than 50.5 liters of petrol in order to fill the tank. So the answer here is 21, but what they ask is for is the probability. So the probability that the vehicle volume is greater than 50.5 is equal to 21 over 150, which is the same as saying 7 over 50, or 0.14, or 14%. So there's a 14% chance that if you select a vehicle at random, that it's going to require more than 50.5 liters of petrol in order to fill its tank. D part of the question. Now, the D part of the question says, Brian estimates the median amount of petrol is to be 43.5 liters. Explain why Brian's estimate is incorrect. All right, the first thing, I'm going to write the answer, then we're going to go back. To the table to fully explain it. The median volume of petrol needed to fill vehicles is, or the median volume is the volume of vehicle number 150 over 2, vehicle number 75, or the volume of liquid needed to fill the 75th vehicle is the median. So let's say it again. The volume of liquid needed to fill the 75th vehicle would be the median. All right. Now, so 43.5 liters is needed. 43.5 is in the interval. Liters is needed by a vehicle, or needed by vehicle by is needed by vehicle 101 to 125. All right. So in order, sorry, the volume of petrol, the medium volume of petrol is the volume of petrol needed to fill the 75th vehicle. Now, 43.5 liters is needed to fill the tank of some of a vehicle that is between 101 and 129. Therefore, it could not be the what? Therefore, 43.5 is not the median. All right, let's see if we can go back to the diagram to explain that. All right, now, first of all, the median is the volume of liquid of vehicle number 75. So, um, the first the first 24 vehicles need between 11 and 20 liters of petrol. Vehicle number 25 to 59 needs between 21 and and vehicle number what? Between 21 and 30 liters, and vehicle number 60 to vehicle number 101 needs between 31 and 40 liters, and number so vehicle number 60 to vehicle number 101, so that range will include vehicle number 75, vehicle number 75, which is the volume needed to fill vehicle number 75 is the median. Vehicle number 75 falls, the amount of gas or petrol needed to fill vehicle number 75 is between 31 and 40 liters. So therefore the median must lie between 31 and 40 liters. And that is why 43.5 liters is not a good estimate, or is not a correct estimate of the median. Now, this leads us to the last part of the question, and it says, on the partially labeled graded below, construct a histogram to represent the distribution of volumes of petrol needed to fill the tanks of the 150 vehicles. Now, if you have group data and you want to draw a histogram, you're going to need frequency on the vertical axis, and on the horizontal axis, you're going to need the upper class boundary. All right. So here the class width is 10. So let's go by 2 centimeters, 10 unit, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. The first frequency, the first one, which is 20.5, corresponds to a frequency of 20.5 corresponds to a frequency of 24. 20.5 corresponds to a frequency of 24. So that should put us about there. The next one is 30.5, which corresponds to 35. Sorry, the first one is not correct, probably the wrong place. Alright, so 20.5 corresponds to 24, that would put us here. 30.5 corresponds to 35, that would put us here. Then 40.5 corresponds to 42, that would put us there. 50.5 corresponds to 28. Sorry, that should be 33. All right, we can always go back and check it. 50.5 corresponds to 28. 50.5 corresponds to 28. Let's get 28. 50.5 corresponds to 28. So 50.5, 30, alright, and 28 would be here. Then the last one, 60.5, corresponds to 21. 21 would be here. Alright, so plot all our points. All we need now is to draw a histogram. Alright. What's something that you must remember or bear in mind? You must bear in mind that you're not actually drawing, that you're drawing in between the lines. So the major bid line is 60 and the one immediately after it is 61. And what we want is 60.5. So it's in between here. Be careful to draw it properly. Alright, I'm doing mine by freehand, but you should remember, you should use a ruler. For the two. This is 35. 35 here, down. And the very last one is 24. Stop at 10.5. Alright, so our histogram should look something like this. Our histogram should look something like that. And that brings us to the end of the question.